Welcome back to the Food for the Faithful channel with me, your reluctant prophet, Bill Reimer. It's not much like the first day of spring out there. It's blustery, blizzardy, and very chilly. And I have a chilling topic to discuss with you today. The red-green axis, how Islam and Marxism converge. The entire world is being driven into madness by people who believe in insanity as a literal way of viewing the world. That's why nothing ever gets resolved with regard to the conflict in Iran. They do not think like other people do. We think that we can satisfy them by giving them the things that we would like to see, such as peace, order, and good government, economic prosperity, everybody living happy and getting along. They don't see the world like that. And we're going to discuss why. Ideological possession poses the greatest threat to humanity that has ever existed. It has created a cadre of kakistocrats, kleptocrats, ideologues, and theocrats who will commit any murderous horror imaginable that is necessary to promote their sick worldview. We're seeing this played out in real time. Simply put, the only worldview that has ever worked to promote peace is one based upon individual liberty and free market enterprise based on capitalism. This is why the murderous theocracy of Islam sees Marxism as necessary to create ideal conditions to further its idolatrous worldview. Islam and Marxism of necessity become bedfellows, despite the fact they contradict one another, since Marxism defines all theocratic views of the world as being the opiate of the people. So, on ideological possession, where abstract doctrines hijack reason, morality, and basic self-preservation, this isn't a new human failing. But the scale and speed of it, spread today, amplified by technology, institutions, and elite capture. Our entire elite class has been captured by ideological possession. That's why their decisions don't seem to be rational to the obvious person. They can no longer distinguish between quiff and quim, to put it in a vulgar manner. So these things amplified by technology, institution, and elite capture, make ideological possession uniquely corrosive today. When people internalize a totalizing worldview that redefines good as whatever advances the cause, atrocities stop feeling like crimes and become sacred duties. History's body count from this pattern is staggering, whether the banner is class struggle, racial purity, divine mandate, or equity. Here is why my core claim holds water under scrutiny. The only system that has reliably scaled peace, prosperity, and non-coercive cooperation among strangers is one grounded in individual liberty, secured by secure property rights, voluntary exchange, the rule of law, and market prices. Empirically, societies that moved toward economic freedom, think post-war West Germany, South Korea, Singapore, Estonia, Chile under the Chicago Boys, or even China's partial liberalization, saw explosive poverty reduction, rising life expectancy, and declining internal violence. Liberal market orders channel self-interest into mutual benefit via the price mechanism and competition. They don't require saints or commissars to do this. They also correlate with the democratic peace observation I've made. Mature market democracies almost never fight one another. By contrast, every major experiment in central planning, whether it's Marxist or otherwise, or theocratic absolutism, has produced mass death, economic collapse, and exportable aggression. The 20th century's socialist tally alone runs well over 100 million dead from famine, purge, and gulag. Islamist regimes add their own ledger: executions, honor killings, terror campaigns, and demographic flight without ever delivering the earthly paradise they promise. The marriage of convenience between radical Islam and Marxism is the most glaring illustration of ideological possession overriding logic. They are metaphysically irreconcilable. Marxism is atheistic materialism that abolishes private property, the family as a bourgeois relic, and religion as opium. Salafi jihadist or Khomeiniist Islam is theocentric totalism that subordinates everything, including the economy, to Sharia, apostasy laws, and Ummah's supremacy. Yet, they sync up like gears because both are revolutionary anti-liberalisms. Their common enemy is the Enlightenment settlement, the sovereign individual, limited government, secular law, and the right to exit or criticize. So we see the pattern repeat. Tactical alliances against the Shah in 1979, the Marxist Tudeh and Fedayeen groups cheering Khomeini, then slaughtered. This is factual. They cheered him on and then they were murdered by them. Soviet arms training and propaganda to Arab nationalists and early Islamists as anti-Western proxies. PLO-era Marxist terror groups morphing into or partnering with Hamas and Hezbollah pipelines. Today's red-green axis in the West. Campus Marxists marching shoulder to shoulder with Islamist activists, both chanting against Zionism, which to them equals capitalism, which to them equals colonialism, while ignoring the gulags and the stonings each would impose on the other if one or the other was victorious. This isn't ideological coherence. It's predatory convergence. Both see liberal capitalism as the final barrier to their utopia. Both thrive on grievance, envy, and the sacralization of violence. Both produce kakistocracies, the rule by the worst, where competence is subordinated to purity tests. And both recruit the same personality type, the intellectually possessed who would rather burn the whole world than share it. That's why our current Prime Minister and Marxist Carney, in my humble opinion, is deliberately trying to burn Canada down. He's simply fulfilling his ideological worldview as revealed in his book, Values, with the S in brackets. The theocrats understand something the Marxists often don't. You can't build the caliphate on a prosperous, free, skeptical populace. Hence the need for engineered scarcity, resentment, and imported Marxist oppressed framing to soften the ground. The Marxists, in turn, get foot soldiers willing to die for transcendent purpose, something dialectical materialism never quite delivered. So I'm not wrong that this fusion poses an existential risk greater than any single past threat because it weaponizes modernity's tools, social media, migration, captured institutions, while rejecting modernity's restraints. The antidote isn't another ideology. It's the unglamorous, empirically tested default of classical liberalism: protect negative rights, enforce contracts, let individual and markets sort out the rest, and defend it ruthlessly against those who would replace it with wholly or proletarian dictatorship. The madness ends when enough people remember that reality doesn't grade on intent, and that the only sustainable peace is the one that lets people disagree, trade, and walk away. Everything else is just theology with better branding. Face it, our universities preach ideological nonsense that has historically failed every time it was applied in practice. This is why they sympathize with murderous Islamic tyranny while condemning the only democracy in the Middle East for protecting itself against those who have sworn to wipe it off the face of the planet. And we wonder why anti-Semitism is out of control on our campuses. These are things to think about. And note, in this blog and vodcast, I have avoided using religious terminology so that no one can accuse me of not being able to defend my argument with pure logic. I have only used logic and reason and facts that are easily verifiable here. I don't have to quote Bible verses, although I might like to, for the sake of the fact that this channel exists to promote the gospel of Christ Jesus. But I have avoided all such here and stuck to facts and facts alone. I hope you've enjoyed today's vodcast and blog. Share this with your family and friends. Dare to debate these principles because they're the only ones that have ever worked. God bless you.